Hey guys, we had Austin Tobit, or also known as A. Tobit, on the show yesterday for almost like 3 and 4 hours. That was ridiculous, and we didn't get a chance to actually go through his DD, which he is going to start packing up, and he and I together, along with Mason, a member of Ro Khanna's office, is going to be able to start giving that congressman a list of bullet points and ultimately something that we can start passing on to other congresspeople as well. So know that once we have this DD bulleted up and ready to send out, we are going to start making some moves to push this to Congress. A walking like a duck, talking like a duck, a case that strongly indicates that Citadel Securities and affiliates are committing securities fraud. So if you guys are curious about exactly what is going on here, make sure that you have already smashed that like button. Make sure to continue and ongoingly smash that subscribe and the bell button. I know 10% of you are actually notified of these uploads, and I would like to jump that to 20%. So those of you that have not pressed that bell, I really would appreciate it. And onwards we go into this video. March 26th, FINRA released a new citation against Citadel Securities for nearly 2 years worth of securities violations. The only reason Citadel hasn't been busted for fraud is because they hide behind the veil of unintentional behavior. However, this post illustrates how Citadel's actions flag all 3 corners of the fraud triangle: pressure, motivation, and opportunity. It's time for these people to be held accountable. This is so well formulated already. The main thing is that people like threes, and being able to have, guns, germs, and steel, right? Pressure, motivation, and opportunity. This is going to be able to be eye-catching because in the court of law, there usually has to be certain perfect storm pieces that get set into place, and this seems like the perfect storm. So don't go anywhere, continue watching. Trying something new this time. Recorded a walkthrough of the DD with user Is It a Buy prior to dropping the DD. If you want to watch that, click here. And if you guys are curious about that format, he is going to do the exact same thing on this channel exclusively about rehypothecation, so you guys don't want to miss that coming out later this week or the next. My fellow apes, many of you are wondering how these posts about Citadel relate to GameStop. Perhaps I've lost sight of explaining this connection, so let's clear it up. As Alexis Goldstein pointed out, you just never know what a company's short position is because they aren't required to disclose it. And unfortunately, she's right. And this is the most important piece. She's even said in Congress that we do not have enough transparency to be able to actually figure out where we are, what are we doing to fight the shorts? How can we fight an army that's basically invisible, right? This is the dangerous piece of the pie. We are looking at AMC, we're looking at GME, we can see their price, we can see call options and put options, but we cannot see the shorts, only what FINRA reports on a 2-week rolling window, which we are going to be taking a close look at on a regular basis. We've always looked at it, and there's one coming out tonight. So what we can do, however, is expose the shenanigans surrounding them. The fraud triangle works because people act maliciously when they have pressure, incentive, and opportunity to commit it, period. This means if it walks and talks like a duck, it is most likely a duck. So let's try and look at these 5 points right here. Number 1, the FINRA violations for naked shorting, failing to post a short sale indicator on transactions, withholding large customer orders to lower the market price, flash crashes. Number 2, the growth of rehypothecated assets for both treasury and equity securities, especially in 2020. Number 3, the growth in liabilities as their promises to repay keeps getting bigger and bigger, especially in 2020. Number 4, FINRA's concern regarding the lack of preventative measures within their system to detect these issues. And number 5, the number of times they've been documented for accidentally removing logic to detect these issues. Boom. Just a laundry list of investigatable, verifiable, criminal activities, right? Everything fits all within corners of the fraud triangle. Citadel commits violations just to name a few million, make a few million, knowing their fines are essentially just a small tax. And now that we have even covered to Ro Khanna yesterday that the tax that SEC or maybe another organization files against these criminal activities is almost serving as an incentive for these criminal activities to continue. It's a kickback for the governing body. So that is pretty sad. Like Homer Moon Hickam says, what are realistic possibilities here? 1, we wake up, hedgies cover, stock plummets, we hold and support GME. Or 2, squeeze Lambo. Is that it? Yeah, that's about it. So either we win or we lose. And this is the clear and compelling boilerplate right now. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Neither is Austin. So he's not giving you financial. He's not giving you financial advice either. If you guys have decided to join the movement or start your investment journey, it doesn't have to be GME or AMC. I would really recommend that you guys continue learning with this channel. And the best way to do that, smashing that like button and that subscribe button so you don't miss a single live stream. We do go bell to bell. For far too long, people with money have been draining the wealth out of the global economy. Everything around us becomes more expensive and the power to do anything about it decreases. We are forced to think about pinching pennies just to make ends meet, while there are people benefiting from all of this injustice, the ultra wealthy. I could speak more about the Stop Cheaters Act and how Ro Khanna is fighting against the ultra wealthy yesterday, but I'm going to just try and power through this article here. Aggregation of wealth has been going on through the scenes for centuries, slowly and gradually like a frog sitting in a pot of boiling water. Debt has been designed to be carried for life. Their confidence and greed has reached a level so high that it would have been impossible for them to fall on their bet against GameStop, for them to fail. But the only thing that could blow their victory was if we all started listening to each other, and most importantly, learning. It seems like Austin is working with the channel, getting the vibes of the channel here. GameStop is the linchpin. GameStop opens the floodgates. GameStop is our checkmate. GameStop is our hedge against the funds. Now that is the tagline, ladies and gentlemen. If you weren't aware, we're gonna have Vice come shoot in my apartment on Sunday about the GameStop saga. So if that's exciting to you, this could be a tagline right here. I'm gonna pitch it for Austin. GameStop is our hedge against the funds. Oof. So now that's been cleared up. This keeps coming. To me, this is further evidence of the desperate actions within a rigged market. After calling out Citadel for shorting U.S. Treasuries, they recently found out they've been slapped with another FINRA violation on the 25th for U.S. Treasury securities. Seriously, just a week ago. By the way, this wasn't even something that he was searching for. He was walked Corey, the host, through the investigative process and uncovered it during their first live interview. And this actually happened very similarly yesterday, right before Ro Khanna. He jumped on the chat and he suddenly was like, yeah, I found another thing, a brand new thing. And this is just the investigative process. These violations occurred between 2017 and 2019. To me, the reason why this violation is so monumental is because it represents the first Treasuries violation. FINRA issued them a $250,000 fine with a censure order, meaning that they disapprove of Citadel's actions. Yeah, we really don't want you to screw over people here. Stop it. Overview. And from July 2017 through October 2019, they incorrectly reported internal transfers at Treasury transactions when they were not reportable. They failed to append the no remuneration indicator to trace reports for certain Treasury transactions between affiliates, and 3, failing to include the correct contraparty type in its trace reports for certain affiliate transactions. Because its supervisory system, including written supervisory procedures, WSPs, was not reasonably designed to achieve compliance with trace reporting rules, because it could only detect violations that would generate automatic alerts. In all cases, the incorrect trace reports involved internal position transfers or transactions with affiliates and did not involve transactions with clients. So number 1, incorrectly reporting. So this is just a recap here, 1, 2, and 3. In all cases, the incorrect trace of reports involved internal position transfers or transactions with affiliates that did not involve with clients. So this is the most important piece of the pie right now. So I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a master's in accounting like Mr. Austin does. So likely he is going to be able to circle us back here. What are the related party transactions and why do they matter? The codification explains related party disclosures under ASC 850. Here's a link from Deloitte that gives a decent overview of 850.10. A typical related party transaction occurs just like a normal transaction, but the parties involved have a connection somehow. They can be 1, a parent entity and its subsidiaries, 2, subsidiaries of a common parent, etc., etc., or affiliates. Transactions can be any of these following. So go ahead and read through this list as well. So from anywhere from sales, purchase, and transfers of real estate to intra-entity billings and allocations of common costs. When you have these related parties or affiliated parties, the biggest concerns is that a relationship materially affects the way that business is conducted. For example, you should disclose situations where subsidiaries are conducting transactions with the parent entity, and there are other caveats as well. There's an example right here by Austin. He explained this as well in person, but as a reminder, this kind of stuff is a little dry, so I want to push through it real quick to make sure you guys actually get to the points. This is exactly what Enron did with their special purpose entities, SPEs. Remember, this is back in 2008, where they were pushing around bad assets and pretending like those liabilities are actually assets that they are leveraging against. Q violation number 1. So this is the very first violation here. Through December 8th, 2018, Citadel Securities reported almost 500,000 treasury transactions to trace that it was not required to report. These reports constituted over 14% of the total treasury reports the firm made. The overreporting occurred when the firm transferred treasury securities within its internal accounts. Okay? So when you send transactions to the trace system, they ask you to prove that they are legitimate. If they are legitimate and occur with an affiliate, FINRA needs to know that. So this is to prevent frauds like Enron from happening again. Breaking this down, Citadel overreported 500,000 securities transactions, which represents only 14% of total reported transactions to trace. This means that Citadel reported 3 million treasury transactions, and one transaction doesn't necessarily mean one treasury, could be thousands. 2, they were not required to report 14% of those because they should have flagged as internal transfers and not treasury transactions. So now we begin to uncover the corners of the fraud triangle: pressure, incentive, and opportunity. Citadel was obviously compliant for 86% of their treasury reports, so why would they feel the need to unintentionally over-report 14%? So back to the slogan of this article: why are you walking like a duck? How did FINRA find out that these are actually internal transfers? Probably the same way that Austin did, by looking for clues. Check out Citadel Securities related party disclosures from 2020. So there's how he was looking for clues here. CSHC, introducing Citadel Securities Institutional LLC, right? This sounds a lot like Citadel's, another arm of Citadel. Think it's the same company? Nope. They're so different. Look at that one. This one and this one. That doesn't even look like the same color blue. Come on now. Citadel Securities Institutional is a completely different company in the books. These guys are affiliated to one another, but exist as special purpose entities, or SPEs. So, Citadel Securities lists CSHC as an affiliate and the sole member of the company. The Citadel Securities Institutional lists CSHC and also as a sole member of that company. CSHC had to go back to a financial disclosure in 2016 to dig up this little jewel. CLP Holdings 3 LLC, CLP3, and then CLP3 merged with CSUH. So who is CLP3? Citadel Securities is a wholly owned subsidiary of CLP Holdings 3. Oh, so these is basically just a bunch of shenanigans by pushing around a couple of other companies. Let's make this clear. Number 1, Citadel parent owns 100% of CLP Holdings 3, which became CISA in 2016. CSHC is the only member of the CSHC US LLC, and then CSHC is also managed by Citadel parent. So basically, Citadel, but they're passing themselves off as different entities. No wonder why FINRA was pissed. It looks like Citadel took treasuries from Citadel Securities and transferred them to Citadel Securities Institutional, but then reported them as sales transactions to trace. So it's like me asking you guys, hey, how much do you think this bottle of Glenfiddich is worth? $100? Great. That'll be $100, me. Thank you, me. Good thing I have a flat stack of $100. Great, I just made $100 in sales. Thanks, me. Does that sound legal and fair to you? And again, this is kind of the dangers of this market, is that we are allowing Citadel to be able to do this shenanigan. The institutions that we are angry at are just taking advantage of the fact that our system is manipulatable. There is always going to be some cracks that we cannot cover. However, this is one that we have uncovered. So it's time to pave over this crack. Okay. So let me just go straight down here. If you fail to indicate this, you also report internal transfers as normal transactions. It really starts to look like you're covering your tracks. Why are you talking like a duck? So that was violation number 2. Now violation number 3, call this the smoking gun. Citadel Securities reported that the contraparty is in a transaction with a customer, was a customer when the transaction was actually with an affiliate, right? We already covered this briefly. But Citadel Securities gets busted pushing transactions to trace when they were really just internal transactions between special entities. So they're then cited for failing to indicate a no remuneration transaction with affiliated parties. And they misclassify the nature of the contraparty in 11,000 transactions, saying they were customers instead of their own, you guessed it, SPEs. So this is the easiest way to understand this is you have an Uber Eats code, right? You go out and you say, hey, who wants my Uber Eats code? Both of us get $15. And then you open up like 15 accounts and you say, oh, look at all these people that I'm not affiliated with. Wink, wink. They are customers of mine and they just got the Uber Eats code and all of us got $15. However, that's just you 15 times. So that is what obviously your misreporting you should be angry about. And that is currently what the that is currently what the SEC fined for $250,000. Really basically just a slap on the wrist after this. So let's bring this all together. Thank you, Austin. Number 1, Citadel Securities sell treasuries to affiliate parties, such as Citadel Securities Institutional. Basically, they sell the treasuries to themselves. Citadel Securities marks most of their transactions with a no remuneration indicator after selling the security to an affiliate party. So this is what they're supposed to do. And to FINRA, this complies with the trace because it looks like a typical transaction without a markup marked down on the price of the treasury. Number 4, at the end of the month, Citadel Securities reimburses Citadel Securities Institutional for the cost of their treasury purchases, plus a little more in profit for their services. And number 5, Citadel Securities records the commission revenue from Citadel Securities Institutional once the treasuries are finally sold to the outside party. Did you catch the loophole? Citadel Securities is able to remain compliant with FINRA because they pay for the services provided by Citadel Securities Institutional after the transactions are cleared through the system. They are disguising them as service fees. Instead of paying during the transaction by remuneration, they simply leave it off the books and hide it on their financial statements. The SEC and FINRA are both regulatory agencies for financial institutions. Austin is 100% convinced that the SEC has given the responsibilities of investigating fraud to FINRA while SEC works on creating the legislation to stop these acts. However, it appears that the SEC and FINRA are working as totally separate agencies while the SEC is supposed to be overseeing FINRA. So now Austin is convinced that the money flows directly to the SEC from FINRA fines, and the SEC is at risk of losing that revenue if they actually start cracking down on these, well, these pigs, these bad people. He's presenting a genuine case, and once again, we are now going to start putting this together in a document for first my congressman, Ro Khanna, who came on the show yesterday, and then to your congressman. So if you want your hands on this document, all you need to do is say thank you, Mr. Andrew, Mr. Mo. I would like that document very, very much. And in the comment section down below, let me know which congressman you would be sending this to once we are finished with it. Once again, we have Mason coming on the show later on today, so he is going to be able to give us a little sense of how to speak to a congressman, right? What exactly gets his attention, and I think that's going to be an enlightening conversation as well. If you guys are excited for an exclusive Austin rehypothecation content DD, then that's coming up this week. Like I said, thank you guys for reaching this part of the video. I just wanted to show you guys a couple of people that really help make this show possible: the Moon Platoon, the Meatball, the Space Legend tiers, and the Gorillionaire tiers. I want to thank them a lot because they went down to the description and pressed that join button for YouTube to stay on the platform. Super easy, less than $1 a day, and it really does help out the show. $4 a month, right? So that is something that I do want to leave you guys with. And for now, but not for forever, I hope you guys already got your 2 free stocks from Webull and $250 of free Bitcoin from BlockFi. They're in the description down below. We will see you in the money. Peace.